Hey, this is the Coach Ed Podcast. I am Ed Weeholder. You can track me down at strengthfitnessandspeed.com.
However, I do have some questions for you. Didn't want to let you off quite that easy.
Curveball. Okay.
Hear from the master himself.
I can take the curveball.
So, I'd like to ask, what is one thing you've learned over your time of training that you won't find in a common textbook or something like that? What's one thing that you think is missed?
It's the absolute power of building relationships with people. The ability to push the right buttons with people, find their triggers for motivation, levels of comfort, just being able to connect. That first and foremost, and you could ask any number of athletes at any level, anybody they talk about, they've got a strong connection with, so therefore they're much more open to learn and be motivated by somebody like that has fostered a connection of sorts. That would be my biggest thing that I think was not stressed in coming up in this profession way back in the day.
I can see that in a lot of textbooks now. I feel like that's kind of glossed over, but it might be one of our most important pieces, if not the most important piece we have.
Everybody at our place cares, and I think this is far beyond a profession. This is about connecting with people and seeing how you can help.
So, in your time of training, of resistance training, speed training, whatever have you, what did you find help you overcome a plateau of yours whenever you get stuck at a certain vertical leap height? I'm sure they're always different, but a vertical leap height or a sprint time, or stuck in the bench press, a squat, things of that. What have you used to your advantage when you get stuck in a plateau, if you will?
Number one answer: avoid a plateau. Do not encounter one. There's a lot of ways to make that happen, and it involves, if you're an athlete on your own, lifting on your own, it involves tracking what you're doing. If you're working on your speed, you're working on your vertical leap, you avoid those by not having to simply go all out gut busting to failure repetitions at every training session. You've got to cycle your effort. So to apply it to like a weight room, how do you break through a plateau in the bench? Well, put that plateau off for 16, 24 weeks versus hitting one at about 7 or 8 weeks. Example being like very simple linear periodization. People laugh at my micro loads that I have down at the facility, and I tell them, that got a pretty average genetically endowed dude to become quite a strong human. For example, week 1 you're giving out X effort, so you're at maybe 135 pounds. Week 2 is 140. Week 3 is 145. Week 4, you might even take some steps back, dropping the load down to maybe close to where you started. But then week 5, you're up another 5 pounds. And this is a very general example. This is more for a beginning, intermediate athlete. Those guys that are more advanced, then you microload. You're talking 1 to 2 pound increments. Very simple approach. Science backs it. It's not glamorous, but it works extremely well, extremely effective.
I like that answer. Never get to a plateau. That's great. My last question for you, Dad, is strength versus appearance. I think we look like reasonably strong dudes, but one thing you preached to me when I was young is that you don't necessarily have to look strong to be strong. Could you elaborate a little bit on what you mean by that, why you think that's important kind of deal?
100%. I think athletes don't spend enough time building ligament and tendon strength. They look in the mirror, they look for the fluffy appearance. They don't do lifts that cap power leaks. They like to do comfortable lifts. Bench press, super comfortable. Squatting can be a comfortable thing. You see a lot more athletes squatting than deadlifting. Deadlifting is not a comfortable venture, but it is the most primitive, primal thing you can do, and it's one of the most effective lifts you can do. Power leaks. I've watched athletes that bench 400 squat 500, deadlift 600. They have trouble moving like furniture. They just can't tie it all together. You have to have the ability to tie things all together as a unit, and that requires big primal movements. Big primal movements don't necessarily make you jacked out of your mind, but they really have a way to tie everything together. So I always have said, like, an athlete should be stronger than they look. That's also the element of surprise for your opponent or combatant or enemy, whatever it might be.